Am I the a-hole for giving my mother an ultimatum to choose which child she wants to live with her? I moved in with my mom after she got sick to help her. 3 months later, she told me my brother was moving in to help too. I was less than enthusiastic, as my brother is always bullied and taken advantage of me, and my mom's enablement of that sours our relationship. I was basically treated like I was a bad person for not believing my brother has magically became a different person in adulthood. My mom decided a compromise was to have him sign an agreement of his duties and our expectations for the shared living space, as well as what we all would be contributing to the household finances. I'm not trying to turn this into a pity party, but essentially, he has not lived up to a single item once. He has never taken out the trash. It's always later. I joke about it. He makes my life here miserable and filthy. He's always introducing drama and problems that beggar belief. Well, I found out my mom has needed my financial help more lately because he hasn't contributed a single dollar toward food or utilities while driving both up, and she's been trying to cover up for him. So I'm subsidizing him, treating me like a house elf, and he won't help me with her appointments or clean up after himself, let alone contribute to chores. We had a fight this morning because he left wet clothes in the washer, so I had to move them to the dryer, like always, to wash my mom's sheets, and then I had to move them out of the dryer because he wouldn't come down to get them. He was upset I left them dumped back in his laundry basket, and said I should have folded them so they won't wrinkle. He never folds his clothes, and they're always wrinkled. He was demanding I iron his clothes, and my mom was trying to say she would do it for him, and I just lost it. But it was more like the straw that broke my back while they're trying to focus on it as a single overreaction. I've never hated anyone more in my life. He's the crappiest person I've ever known. So I told her it's him or me, that I'm moving out ASAP if she doesn't give him a deadline to move out. I said I'd still go to her appointments and stuff like that, but I won't live with her. My mom is hysterically upset and saying that he can't take care of her if she's sick at night, and she doesn't understand how I can be so cruel to ask her to choose between her children. But I feel like she already did a long time ago. I feel guilty to put her through this, but I also feel like this is not my fault, and I have to maintain my own sanity. I feel like crap, but I don't know what else to do. I clean the house only to wake up to it trashed every morning, and lately I've been wishing I wouldn't wake up. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. This has gone on far too long. There is no impetus for your brother to change, so he won't. Your mother is wrong that he can't take care of her at night. More likely she won't admit to you nor to herself that he won't. As you rightly pointed out, she's made her choice. You've tried to help her, she squandered that opportunity, and now it's time to help yourself. Move out. Skip the ultimatum. They can and will figure this out when they have no other options. Not stay home. The thing is, she's right. He won't step up. He didn't when I had to travel for work. I had to call a friend in the middle of night because he was outside of the shed, ignoring her calls for help. When you move out, you are going to have to turn your phone off at night or she will be calling you and asking you to come and help her anyway. I know it sounds heartless, but for your own sanity, you will have to make yourself unavailable. That's the other hesitation I have. I can't afford to live that close. I'd be at least a 45-minute drive with no traffic. And you're right. She would absolutely ask me to drive that at 2 a.m. if my brother makes a single excuse. I don't know if I could be strong enough to know she's suffering. I don't know how he does it. Not stay home. She's made it clear she favors your brother while knowing he can't actually care for her. Let her lie in the bed she's made, or hire some help. No, it's more than this. She got you to move in with her to take care of her, and then invited your brother to move in with you for you to take care of him too. You said you wouldn't, and she lied to you and did it anyway. Opie, she knew deep down that she was inviting him in for you to take care of him. She knew. She thought she had you over a barrel because she needs your help. She does not have you over a barrel. When you move out, cut contact for a while. Otherwise, you'll be paying for 2 separate households when she starts to complain about not having enough money. And I think you'll find that the second the cash cow goes no contact, suddenly your brother will find a wherewithal to take your mother in and get her on a government program she should already be on. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit for my sister and leaving her without anyone to watch her kids? I'm 18 female, still in high school, pertinent to the story, paralyzed, also pertinent. My mom is 45, my sister is 28 and has 3 boys ages 10, 6, and 3. 4 years ago, I was in a car accident and came out paralyzed from the waist down. It has been hell having to learn a new way of life, but I haven't let that stop me. I'm going to be going to college out of state next year and graduating in the top 10% in my school if things continue as they are. The one major thing that is a complete bummer out of all of this, other than the obvious, is that my mom thinks that I am now a free babysitter for whenever one of my older brother or sister needs one. She never consults me on these and expects me to drop plans at the drop of a hat. This past Monday, I told my parents about a Christmas movie extravaganza sleepover my friend has been planning. It's gonna be 3 girls, and we were planning on making brownies, cookies, watching really cheesy Christmas-themed romantic movies, and just girl stuff. It was on Saturday, yesterday, and my parents said they had no problem with it. Yesterday arrived and I'm just about to roll out when my mom comes and says my sister is on her way with her 3 boys. Apparently, she asked mom if I could babysit the other day and she said yes. Didn't even bother telling me about it. I said hell no because I already have plans. We fought and mom ended up storming off because this one time I wasn't backing down. I took the time and left, turning my phone off when I got into my friend's car. Today when I got home, I got called an immature a-hole basically. My sister was left without anyone to watch the kids during her husband's work Christmas party. That I went back on my word that I didn't make. Mom told me that I should be grateful she gives me something to look forward to, babysitting, because I have no real social life being paralyzed. I just went to my room and cried. But now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole like they say I am because I refused to babysit and then left my sister in the lurch? Not the a-hole. Your family members all suck. If your mom is that concerned about your sister having a babysitter, she can watch the kids herself. She refuses to. The 10-year-old is a major brat and not anywhere close to a good kind. Not the a-hole. That paralyzed comment was a low blow and unacceptable. I would never babysit again. I've been paralyzed for 20 years and my social circle is small but tight. I really want to have a strong word with your mom. You didn't deserve any of that. I'd put your foot down and stop. Call CPS if they leave them with you. Use their words against them. I think that's what hurt the most. This is also the woman who once told me, before they let me come home, that I could make my life what I want despite everything I'd lost. Not stay home. No social life, huh? So what was the Christmas movie extravaganza sleepover you had planned and attended that they know you had plans for? Your sister needs to take responsibility for her own kids. And family are not automatically babysitters when she needs them. Even if you had volunteered your time, at least a day in advance unless it's an emergency, is something that would need to be respected. What's your plan for when you're at college? Your visits home will be monopolized by babysitter volunteered on your behalf. They don't know where I'm gonna be going at the moment. Haven't quite broken that news to them yet. Won't do that until springtime. Next story. Am I the a-hole for arranging for my wife's parents to spend Christmas celebration with us without telling her? I, male 27, have been married to my wife, female 26, for 2 years, and we're expecting a baby boy together. My wife has been in contact with her parents because of issues that occurred between them during her teenage years. She said it was because of the way they treated her late boyfriend and their 7-year-old son. She stopped seeing them after she moved out with my stepson, but she went back to introduce me, and things were fine till a little before we got married. My wife went no contact after she claimed my mother-in-law stole all her wedding jewelry and sold it. Now, I'm not sure if that was accurate or just an excuse my wife used to get me to stop asking. A few months ago, my mother-in-law as well as other family members reached out to me and we had conversations, without my wife, about how innocent my mother-in-law was. It was falsely accused by my wife to get back at her for past issues. I really felt she was sincere, especially after she said she wished my wife would give her another chance. I had an idea, which was that I invite my in-laws over to celebrate Christmas with me and my wife, and hopefully talk things out once and for all. I didn't tell my wife because I didn't want her stressing over the gathering. But days ago, I came home and she began yelling at me asking what I was thinking to invite her boys and enemies to our Christmas celebration. I tried to explain that her parents are very sincere in wanting to start new with the baby coming, but she yelled that they didn't even treat my stepson or his father well. I don't deserve to be near the kids and said I needed to cancel immediately. I suggested she calm down first and we'll talk, but she refused and packed her stuff and went to stay with a friend, repeatedly saying I disrespected her and ignored her decision when it came to her family. I spoke to her friend and said maybe my wife should let bygones be bygones, and that she might be dealing with stress and is lashing out for no reason. But her friend said I overstepped and it wasn't my business to try and fix whatever issue she has with her family. and told me to back down and cancel the invite since my wife said she won't be there. But I think she's holding on to grudges and being bitter instead of settling things down with her family. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole for trying to trick your wife into doing something she didn't want to do, for choosing to believe people you've never met over your wife, and especially for doing both of those things during a holiday that's supposed to be about celebrating the family important to you. So OB1 believes his own wife to be a manipulative liar who would tell him falsehoods just to get him to stop asking. Was he badgering her? Want to take bets? About things that have nothing to do with him. 2 doesn't trust his wife's perspective at all. About the things which have happened to her or things which other people have done to her and her child. Just flat out thinks she's making it up. But he'll stay married to a person who he thinks is a manipulative liar. Out of what? Convenience? 3 feels himself to be in a sufficiently superior position to hers that he gets to make decisions about who she sees and spends her holidays with, regardless of her boundaries. Do you think he realizes that is bought and owned by people who mistreated her? That they did a nice little, a Mass Effect style indoctrination? Made him their flying monkeys, stuck their fingers in his brain and muddled it up until he's his own wife's enemy? Do you think he's ever going to realize it? People like this are dangerous because of how effectively they convince ignorant people that they are the injured party. When my mother talks to other people about me, she tells people how I'm a very angry young woman. She doesn't tell them that she laughed when I told her about the miscarriage. You're the a-hole. Congrats, you got your submission in time so you can qualify for one of the biggest of the year. Your poor wife not having a husband who is her partner and who supports her. You're the a-hole big time. I would leave you for this. When someone tells you they cut contact because of how they and people they love, including a child, were treated, the answer is not to invite the harmful people into the family home on a holiday and let them know about the baby. This is not your family and it is not your decision. At a minimum, you should have clearly communicated with your wife, but instead you've gone behind her back and taken her family side. To me, that is straight up betrayal. I don't know how you can rebuild trust here. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my in-laws out after they said they'll call the police on me for how I'm treating their son? I, female 33, have never been on good terms with my in-laws, but we tolerate each other and are civil. My husband, male 30, is sick right now. He was involved in an accident 2 months ago. It was bad, and we almost lost him. He's still bedridden and is very restless because of his medication. He'd end up falling out of the bed several times, resulting in more injuries. I had to lift him off the floor by myself every time, which I could no longer do because of my own health and my unborn baby's health. I'm 6 months pregnant, and my in-laws don't help at all. I ended up getting him a floor mattress that he sleeps on currently, and it's so much better. However, when my in-laws, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law 1, sister-in-law 2, and kids, brother-in-law 1 and brother-in-law 2 and wife and kids, and also my husband's grandparents and aunts, visited, which what they do often, they don't help with anything and even bring their own food to eat without me now. After calling a terrible host just because I refused to cook for them, while also expecting me to clean up after them. They saw my husband sleeping on the floor mattress, and they lost it on me saying their son should be sleeping on his bed, not on the floor, and accused me of neglecting his health and purposely making it worse even after. I explained my reasons for getting a mattress, but they demanded I return him to the original bed, or they'll call the police on me for my mistreatment of their vulnerable and helpless son. I had an argument with them about their lack of support, and told them from now on they can't and will not be allowed to visit anymore, after they basically said they'd call the police on me and had them leave immediately. They mass blasted me online and on social media calling me out for 1, mistreating their son, and backed it with pictures my sister-in-law 2's daughter took of my husband sleeping on the floor mattress without asking first, and 2, banning them from visiting to see and check on their sick son, constantly expressing how concerned they are for him. That sparked more rage and involvement from distant family members, urging me to stop what I'm doing because it's wrong and outrageous. I tried to tell my side of the events, but was told they can't consider the entire family liars since they all witnessed the same thing, and that is blatant neglect. I'm now required to apologize and let my in-laws back into the house, but I just can't take it anymore with how criticizing and demanding they are. Am I the a-hole? Info. What's your husband's opinion on all this? It would be pretty easy for him to set the record straight, no? Excellent question. Can he or can he not speak for himself? In all honesty, I doubt these a-holes would care. They're so self-centered that they think Opie should be hosting them when she's 6 months pregnant and taking care of her bedridden husband. They still have the audacity to come over and criticize her without doing anything to help. Even if Opie's husband said something, they'd probably look at it as, oh, she's brainwashed him. She's such a horrible, cruel person. Please save our poor, sweet child from her monstrous clutches before he's completely under her control. Not the Ahole. That said, it might have been a better strategy to call their bluff and get someone to ring the police. That wouldn't have ended well with them. It sounds like you were being harassed for doing the right thing by your husband. Wish I had some advice to give you. They suck. Anyway, good luck. If they have a problem with his care, why don't they pay for an in-home nurse or some support system, rather than leave it all up to his pregnant wife? Not the Ahole. However, don't respond to online posts/comments. Get your husband involved. Call a lawyer in case they try to sue you. Ask a health professional to offer suggestions. Being pregnant is not a disability, but sure it does put your body under stress. And lifting heavy or running around doing errands surely is not the medical advice for a 6 months pregnant woman. Lastly, do let them visit individually to avoid them suggesting you were prohibiting them from seeing their unwell family member. I think in some countries this is an actual crime. You've got nothing to fear, and if the police come, and you have already had a lawyer consultation, they will be able to tell you what to say to ensure the truth is not bended and used against you. First story is titled, Am I the Ahole for not letting my father into my flat so he slept in his car? I haven't had contact with him since my early childhood. After the separation of my parents, he had a right to see me every second weekend, but he often forgot me or brought me back early because he had other plans, other women, alcohol. After a while, a court ruled in my mother's favor because she couldn't see me being sad and feeling rejected 2 times a month, and we didn't have any contact since then. His drinking problem was also a reason for the court. I moved really far away from home to study. Last week, my father knocked on my door. I have contact with some of his sisters, my aunts, and wrote them cards so he got my address from them. When I opened, I felt so shocked, sad, and angry. He wanted to talk to me, and he pushed himself into my flat. I told him that I don't want him here, and that I don't want to talk to him right now. My boyfriend came from our living room, and he saw how stressed I felt. He told my father to leave our flat because he was not invited. I said to him that he should write me a letter if he has something to say, and I will read it. He said that he drove all the way to my flat. It's 7 hours from my hometown, and because of the pandemic, he can't stay at a hotel. I said that he should have thought about it before not expecting to sleep by me. I closed the door. He kept yelling and ringing, but I didn't answer or open the door. My aunts called me angrily 2 days after because he had to sleep in his car. They called me an a-hole for not allowing him in my flat and that I didn't talk to him. I'm not sure if I'm an a-hole. As a child, everything I ever wanted was a caring dad. But as an adult, I learned very painful to give that dream up and be happy without a father. It was too much seeing him without any warning. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Him blowing up and hammering on your door is all I needed to know for that judgment. I would not want some aggressive bloke I don't know staying in my house, even if I did own some of his jeans. It's also ridiculous to drive 7 hours to see someone without calling/writing first, especially because of the COVID. Even if you are good friends with a person, it's common decency not to foist yourself on someone else. He needs to grow up. This, not the a-hole. He is literally a stranger. A strange man who is aggressive and pushed his way uninvited into your home. And you're supposed to let him sleep in it while you're sleeping and vulnerable? Hell no, you're not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You don't owe him anything. He clearly knew you didn't want to see him, or he'd have given you warning he was coming. Exactly what I was thinking. If he really wanted to talk to you and mend things, he would have contacted you before appearing on your doorstep unannounced, Opie. That basically tells me that he didn't have good intentions, and the way he reacted to you not allowing him in your flat just cements that. I don't know what he wanted, but I'm pretty sure he didn't have your best interest at heart. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. No one could just show up out of nowhere and expect to sleep in your place. Also, why did he contact you? Seems like he wanted something from you. I'm glad your boyfriend was there to help you and you stood strong. Good luck, and don't let people get to you and try to guilt trip you. There's COVID. I can't sleep in a hotel. Yet drives 7 hours cross country at the drop of a hat. He definitely had some ulterior motive. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not asking my dad to let my stepsister stay for a few nights? I, 15 female, have divorced parents. My mom is remarried and her husband has a daughter the same age as me, and we've been a step family since we were both 7, but we have also never been close. Not even a little. The only time she ever wants me is when she wants some of my stuff, and I don't really want her for anything. So even though we both live in the same house sometimes, she lives with her dad and mom while I split time between my parents. We're not really in each other's lives, unless she wants something. Anyway, my mom and her husband were traveling out of state last month for a few days to see his best friend who was terminally ill. They didn't want to take my stepsister with because she was getting some in-person tutoring as well as distance schooling, and so they wanted my dad to take her for the few days. My mom asked me to ask him, and I told her no. This pissed her off, and when she asked him, he told her no as well. She asked me again and again, so I told her I wouldn't ask and why I wouldn't ask. My mom lectured me about the importance of family and stuff, and then she ended up getting a friend of hers to take her in for the few days. But she and her husband were super pissed because then they of course had to pay. Which I think sucks, that they expect my dad to take in some strange teenager for nothing and open his house to a random tutor during COVID. But you know, it's still an issue, and my mom told me whatever issues we have, we're family. I told her she, stepsister, and I do not like each other, nor care about each other. That does not make a family. And that trying to force the issue or pretend things are different are not going to change anything. My mom said one day I might need her, and I told my mom I have so many people I would turn to, and that even if I didn't have them, I do not see myself ever looking to stepsister for anything. She then goes off that it's a horrible thing to say, and I was a selfish brat for not asking my dad to take her when things are already so uncertain with COVID and her dad's friend dying. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and kudos on being able to express that so clearly to your mom. And why can't a 15-year-old stay home alone for a few days? Not the a-hole at all. Your stepfather and stepsister were your mother's choice, not yours, and most definitely not your father's. You and your stepsister are not close and never have been. Your mother expecting you to play a happy family because it makes her life easier is ridiculous. It was wildly inappropriate and entitled for her to involve your father, who has no responsibility for your stepsister. From where does she get the balls you insist that you ask your father for this ridiculous favor and try to make it seem like you're in the wrong? Did she really think that her ex would open his home to her stepchild and do so without payment? Your mother is dead wrong here. Apparently, she has this idea that because her stepdaughter and I are sisters, that my dad should do his best to be open and involved in her life too. Which is so damn weird to me. But hey ho, maybe my dad should be paying support for her or something in my mom's mind. There was a similar issue on my 10th birthday because my dad had me that weekend that day, and he was taking me and my 2 best friends out, and my mom wanted him to take her too, and pay for her. That is ridiculous. Your father has nothing to do with her new family, and she needs to stop trying to make her ex responsible for her stepdaughter. She also needs to stop putting you in the middle and stop trying to force a relationship between you and your stepsister. Good luck. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my adult cousin that his biological father was a sperm donor when his parents would not? My cousin, Pete, is 10 years younger than me and is my stepdad's brother's son. He moved to college in the same city in which I was living. Pete received a full scholarship to an Ivy League school and was the first in his immediate family to go to college, but he had liberal politics and studied evolutionary biology, which was threatening to the conservative evangelical Christians who raised him. He received no financial support from them and argued with them or didn't speak to them for months. At the end of his first year, Pete asked to stay with me and my husband during the summer while Pete worked. He stayed that summer, and the next 2 too. We became very close. At the start of his junior year, Pete needed more money and became a sperm donor. He called his parents asking for family medical history. He told them why he was asking. They were unhappy, but did not dissuade him. During the next year, Pete had bad fights with his father. Pete's father asked him for money. Pete's parents gave their own savings to the church. My stepdad thought that Pete's dad had diagnosed manic depression. His wife, Pete's mother, was passive and did not intervene in how her husband treated their son. I did not know Pete's parents well. Interactions I had with them were restrained because of his father's open judgments on others. Pete was increasingly distraught about his family. Connection with his father was always hard. He is intelligent, well-read, well-traveled, multilingual, and open-minded. His father is not. Pete told me that he was ready to stop talking with his father. At the end of the third summer when he lived with us, he came back upset from his annual short trip back home. His father was so mad about Pete's application to an evolutionary biology PhD program that he had thrown a Bible. In the year prior, my stepdad told me that Pete was donor-conceived. Only a few in the family knew, and his parents didn't want him to know. My stepdad's brother had an irreversible vasectomy after an earlier marriage. His mom wanted a child, so they used a sperm donor, and Pete is his mom's only child. I told him, and he was elated. When he called his parents, they denied it before admitting it. His parents were very angry with me for telling him, but I believed that Pete should know true familial medical history. I also believed that this information might explain his emotional distance from his father in a way that could be healing. Pete was grateful that I told him, but his parents hate me for it. He found his daughter's family through genetic testing, and he has formed a close bond with his biological family. The shared interests and attitudes between Pete and his paternal biological family are much greater than those between Pete and the family of the man who raised him. Now for the comments. I say not the Ahole, especially in light of his parents' antagonistic attitude towards his education and the possibility of mental instability. A normal person would be concerned about the possibility of having a genetic mental illness and want to be aware of the possibility of inheriting it. You've given your cousin peace of mind regarding mental health/medical history, and he has a right to know, in my opinion. The relationship is not the reason Pete needs to know. Medical history is. Everyone has an absolute right to know their medical history as much as possible. Not the Ahole. It wasn't exactly your place to tell him, but given the circumstances, I don't feel like it is appropriate to call you an Ahole. His parents are horrible, especially for not telling him his medical history, so I think you get a pass because of that. I also feel your justifications for their strained relationships don't really line up. The parents are just Aholes. Not the Ahole. I'm donor-conceived and was lied to about it. If you had continued to lie, you would have been a party to it. He would have found out eventually, by his blood test, seeing an eye color chart, doing a DNA test for fun, etc. Not to mention the fact that so many people knew and were lying to him. Good for you for not being a party to that. I'm donor-conceived too. It's so rare to find another one of us in the wild. Added to add, I've always known too. My mom was a single mother, so the who's my dad questions came very early for me. For the last story. Am I the Ahole for yelling at my husband, then leaving him at the clinic after his prank? Me, female 28, and my husband, male 34, have been married for a year. Before I met him, I got a dog named Ollie, a German Shepherd, that was originally my sister's, but she passed away, and I immediately took him to live with me. My husband adores Ollie, and he sometimes jokes that he's married to me only because of Ollie. He likes making jokes and doing pranks, but some of them are downright nasty. He'd always get me worried by lying saying Ollie ran off when he was hiding him in a place I didn't know about. He knows how much worried and stressed out those pranks make me, but he says my reaction is priceless and worth the yelling/lashing afterwards. Ollie needed to be taken to the veterinary clinic for a checkup. My husband said he'd handled it. During the second visit to get the results, I received a call from my husband, and his voice sounded like he wasn't okay. I asked what was wrong. I got really worried after he said it was about Ollie. I was starting to shake. I kept asking what was going on, and he told me that Ollie's been diagnosed with cancer. He said he wanted me to come over to the clinic as soon as possible because Ollie was with the vet. I couldn't stand. I started asking, is that why Ollie lost weight lately and such? I rushed to the clinic and found my husband standing near the entrance with Ollie. First thing I noticed was him laughing hysterically, telling me that I really bought into his lie. I was confused, so he said it was just a prank. Ollie's perfectly healthy and handed me the results to check. After I checked, I lost it. I lashed out at him. Not gonna lie, I called him awful names, and his face suddenly turned red like he didn't expect me to react that way. He argued that I made it a big deal, obviously, and was being mean to him over a prank that didn't even last an hour. I kept lashing out, and didn't give him a chance to keep talking. Then I took Ollie and the keys and left. I arrived to the clinic in a taxi. I left him at the clinic while me and Ollie went home by car. 3 hours later, he came back and was upset. He usually laughs even in serious situations, but this time it didn't. He argued that I shouldn't have left him like that, and that I overreacted. Said I was trying to make good memories to look back on and laugh at, but I was unnecessarily overreacting. He stopped talking after that. Just wanted to mention that this started months after his father's passing. His family said he never mentions his dad, nor keep anything of his, although they were very close. I never met his father, but they told me he wasn't suffering from anything, and his death was sudden, and my husband had a hard time processing it. This could be the reason for his behavior. Not the Ahole. This isn't a prank. This is abuse. He wanted you to feel like your beloved dog was dying. For his amusement. He laughed at your pain. Even him hiding the dog and saying he ran away is unbelievably cruel. His words aside, I think he's jealous of Ollie. Forget leaving him at the clinic. You should consider leaving his lying, cruel butt entirely. Yes, you're right. I don't know why he keeps joking about serious stuff like that. He once lied to his friend group about their friend dying overseas. Half of the group isn't talking to him anymore because he lied about their close friend's death. It scared them, and it was highly inappropriate, but he kept trying to justify that it was a prank. I don't know why he thinks any of this is okay. I've already warned him and told him to not get all involved in his pranks, but it took me to lose my temper to get him to realize that what he's doing was unacceptable. Wow, that's so incredibly out of line, unimaginably cruel, and legitimately disgusting. He said someone died. Why does he do it? Some people have personal issues that manifest as self-destructive tendencies. That's the most generous read on this situation. The other is that he's a sociopath, utterly lacking in empathy, and enjoys causing distress. Either way, the why doesn't matter. He doesn't care about his why. He's having fun and enjoying himself, causing deep heartbreak and trauma to people. What will it take for you to have enough? Will it take him calling your parents and telling them you died as a prank for the memories? Or maybe he will just tell them that you have cancer. He has a pattern of destructive behavior. It doesn't even sound like he recognizes that much, let alone be willing to change. I'm seriously concerned for you and Ollie. He literally sounds like a monster. The dog you adore ran away. Kidding. No, I actually took it to the vet, and the vet says it has cancer. Not really. Christ, what an a-hole. Say this. Sweetie, I apologize for overreacting. I love you. Kidding. Get the hell out. Not the a-hole. Opie should have told him leaving him at the vet was a prank and he was overreacting. Jesus freaking Christ. I hate people like Opie's husband. Is he 12? Wait, that's offensive to 12 years old. Opie, I'm not issuing any judgments because I'm concerned. Your husband sounds like he's escalating. I would get the dog out of the house if possible. Good memories? That makes my skin crawl. Remember the time you thought your beloved pet was dying? Haha, good times. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe. Am I the a-hole for not letting my miracle baby niece be my flower girl at my wedding? My 27 female, older brother and sister-in-law, both mid-30s, just welcomed their first child a year and a half ago, after years of trying. After many failed attempts, sister-in-law was told that she wouldn't be able to conceive due to a medical condition she has. Then they finally got pregnant. Since having my niece, the baby has been the center of attention at every family event we've had since she was born. Birthdays, weddings, family get-togethers, you name it. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my niece, but it can get to be a little too much when my sister-in-law goes on and on about how long they tried to conceive, complications they've had, miscarriages they've had, etc. Like a little too much info. Many family members have commented on how it's a little bit excessive, but no one has said anything because they don't want to sound like an a-hole. Anyway, I'm getting married in the spring, and my brother and sister-in-law approached me last weekend about having my niece be the flower girl. Now, my fiancé, 35 male, has 2 children, 10 male and 6 female from his previous marriage. His son is one of the groomsmen, while his daughter had asked to be our flower girl when we told them the news that we were getting married a year ago, as it's something she always wanted to do. So, of course, we said yes. So, I explained this to my sister-in-law when she asked me about my niece. She asked if my stepdaughter can just carry my niece with her, and I said I don't think she'd be comfortable with that considering she's 6. She then asked why I can't give that role to my niece and allow herself to carry my niece down the aisle as a flower girl. I said no, because I already promised my stepdaughter. She then started going off about how my lack of effort to incorporate my niece is disgusting to her. I should honor her in some way, since I know how long and hard they tried for my niece. Now, I may sound like an a-hole for this, but I kind of got fed up and snapped and said, incorporate my niece how? By the time the wedding comes around, she'll be 2 years old. The entire family already knows your story about how long and hard you guys tried for her. What more do you expect me to do to honor her? She started crying and said that clearly I don't love my one and only niece, and I'm letting her down. I said, of course I love my niece, and obviously she's going to be involved in the pictures and stuff, but I'm not going to let my stepdaughter down by giving my niece a role she's too young to remember anyway. Well, now sister-in-law and my brother are angry with me for not letting my niece be flower girl, and are running around telling the rest of the family I don't love my niece. My mom had been trying to stay neutral, but thinks my stepdaughter would understand if I explained to her I need to give that role to my niece. I'm firm in my decision though, and my fiancé is thankful that I didn't let his daughter down. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my niece to be the flower girl? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Let them be pissed. If ever there was a time to take a stand for your stepdaughter, it is now, without knowing her story or how she came to be part of your life. She's 6 years old, and you've made a commitment to be in her life. The moment you make it official revolves around her as much as it does you. You absolutely have every right to honor the stepdaughter over the niece, and these first moments as stepmom are going to cause the ripple that forms the pond that is your relationship for her whole life. Trust me, if you back down now and give her spot away, it's going to ruin more than just your wedding. I 100% agree. I came from a family with 2 divorced parents myself. And I'll never forget how horrible I felt when my dad and stepmom's wedding I wasn't included in it at all. Yet my younger brother was one of the groomsmen. Having that experience myself, I'd never want my stepdaughter to feel that way, or that she isn't involved in such a special day. It just caused so much drama in the family that is so unnecessary. Stop thinking of it as your decision causing drama, and start correctly calling it your sister-in-law causing drama, because she wants to be the center of attention at your own wedding. It's your day, not hers. Not the a-hole. She's their miracle baby, not yours. The fact that they want you to disappoint your soon-to-be stepdaughter in order to make their daughter the focus of your wedding is absurd. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my daughter, who eloped, cash for her honeymoon? My daughter Jane recently eloped with her partner of 5 years. My wife and I were excited when they got engaged to plan a wedding, but she said she didn't want to rush setting a date or planning a wedding. This was understandable to us, and we didn't want to rush them either, but we let her know we would contribute a set amount to her wedding when the time came. Then last week, she tells me she has an announcement, and that they actually eloped together, because they decided they didn't want the big event with all the attention on them. This was a little disappointing, but we understood. She's never been the type to want to be in the spotlight, so while we weren't expecting it, it wasn't the biggest shock in the world. What did feel like a shock is when she assumed we'd just give her that amount of cash straight up. She said they wanted to use it to take a month-long traveling sabbatical/honeymoon. My wife and I told her the money we were prepared to give her was for a family event, not just for her to do as she pleases. If she didn't want a traditional wedding, that's fine. But we never told her we were just giving her, say, $15,000 for the act of getting married. We just didn't want her to have to spend a ton of her own funds on a wedding. And since relatives and family friends would have presumably been there, we were happy to pay for it so she wouldn't have to. 2 of my nieces have gotten married in the last couple years, and it's a family event to us, not just about the 2 people getting married. This has caused a whole thing with her saying we went back on our word to her, but in my mind, we never told her otherwise. We did say if she wants a second ceremony/family event to celebrate but would it be an official wedding, we would sponsor that. If she had asked if she eloped or had a tiny wedding if we would give her some of it for a honeymoon, we may have considered it, but it's hard to know because we were never given their request. They just went and did their own thing, which again is fine. Am I the a-hole for not giving her the cash we would have paid? Not the a-hole. Your expectations and conditions are entirely reasonable. It wasn't reasonable for her to assume that she could simply take the cash option here. A wedding with just the people getting married is only about a couple. A wedding with both families invited is a family event focused around a couple. Not the a-hole. You and your wife offering to contribute toward wedding expenses in no way means your daughter is somehow entitled to that money if a wedding does not take place. That's just entitlement on your daughter's end. Yes, and it's a conversation you have with your parents before you elope. I talked all my options out with my dad. He was willing to give us a set amount if we eloped, or contribute the same amount to a wedding. But it's a discussion, not I got married. Can I have the cash? My father-in-law told me if he were in my shoes, he'd take some of the wedding fund they had for us and maybe use it as part of a down payment on a house and cut expenses here or there with the event. So we did exactly that, but he explicitly said that was an option. Never in a million years would I have expected to just be gifted that money. Especially for a honeymoon. I mean, that doesn't mean it's not important to some people, but I can imagine parents being happier helping a child with a home over a once-and-done expense. My parents offered to kick in for a portion of my wedding, or give me the equivalent if we wanted a destination wedding. We never had a third option for cash. It was always for the wedding. Next story. Am I the a-hole for oversalting my brother-in-law's food? I, 29, male, love to cook, and even more so when I'm cooking for other people. I'm also the kind of person who likes to be good at everything I do, so I put in a lot of effort into cooking and also always ask for feedback so I can make it better the next time. The one thing I ask for is that whoever I'm cooking for takes one bite before adding anything to it for two reasons. 1, I want to know how my cooking turned out. 2, it's kind of rude to assume someone's cooking is lacking before you even try it. I understand that people have different tastes and palates, and I wouldn't ask them to not put any more salt, pepper, or other seasonings after they try it. I just ask for one bite so I can get actual feedback. My brother-in-law, 36 male, doesn't agree with me on this. And when I've asked him to just try it before adding salt, he gets heated and says that he knows what he likes, and he should be able to do what he wants with his own food. I fully understand and support him eating his food the way he likes truly. But at the end of the day, how does he know whether or not I've salted my food enough if he doesn't take a bite first? Like I said, I'm always trying to improve. So I make changes dependent on people's feedback. So the recipes change every time I make them, adding a little bit here and taking away a little bit there. So there's no way for him to know how my next dish will come out. I also don't cook for him all that often. Maybe once or twice a month when the family's over. Anyway, the last time I cooked for the family, I made sure to put extra salt in because that was the feedback I got the last time I made that specific dish. Another thing to note is that brother-in-law adds salt to all of his food, and it's always a substantial amount of salt. So when I served brother-in-law's plate, yes, he can serve himself. I just like to also put effort into the presentation. I told him that I added more salt than usual, so he should try it before he adds salt. He said, I'll do whatever I want with my food, thanks, and just brushed me off. We sit down to eat and immediately starts salting his food like usual. Everyone else is trying it and saying it's really good, and they give me a solid 8/10 when I specifically ask for a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Brother-in-law takes a bite and makes a face. He's very fair, and so it really shows when he's irritated because he gets really red. And he was red as a brick. I asked him what was wrong with it, and then he accused me of oversalting his food on purpose, so that he'd ruin his food when he added more salt. Here's where I may be the a-hole. I responded by saying that maybe if he tried the food first, then he wouldn't have oversalted it himself by adding more salt. He got pretty salty, pun intended, over what I said, and my sister called me petty for messing with someone else's food, and now he's refusing to eat what I cook. My mom is a peacekeeper, so she's telling me to apologize, and my dad doesn't think I did anything wrong. So am I the a-hole? Edited to add. I added more salt to the whole dish before serving it to anyone. He got the same amount of salt as everyone else before he added salt on his own plate. I'm not sure if this matters, but I don't stare at people while they eat. And I'll wait until we're all done and we're doing dishes for feedback. I agree with commenters that it would be strange to just stare, wide-eyed and waiting for everyone to take their first bite. Also, I don't mind how anyone likes their food. They can have it as salty as they want. I just ask that they take a bite first instead of assuming that it won't be to their liking. I'd also never say anything about it to anyone I wasn't extremely close with. It's very common in our family to give honest feedback on stuff. My mom at her crafts, my dad with his cooking and woodworking. So it's very normal for us to have the kinds of interactions. Now for the top comments. So you put the same amount of salt into everyone's dish, but because it was an appropriate amount of salt for the dish, your brother-in-law adding additional salt made his oversalted? You didn't oversalt the dish. Your brother-in-law oversalted his own dish, not the a-hole. You were way too nice. Him refusing to eat what you cook sounds like a win. No need to cook for the rude, entitled a-hole anymore. Remind them before he comes over again that he will need to make sure that he has eaten before coming over from now on. I frankly wouldn't invite sister-in-law or brother-in-law over for something that includes a meal-first attitude even before the salting issue, and for her enabling rudeness, generally unappreciative and downright rude. Tell your sister and mom that you are not apologizing. If he wants to be a patty child, then he can. I'd tell them the following. If he doesn't want to eat my food anymore, that is his choice. But I did not target him. I warned him of the extra salt in the dish. I asked him to just try one bite before he added salt, and he chose to ignore and dismiss me. That is not my fault, and I'm not going to apologize. This is it, right here. If Opie did not tell brother-in-law and only extra salted his plate, then maybe I could get behind the YTAs here. But Opie warned him, and he childishly dismissed the disclaimer. Absolutely not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay for dinner? Typing this out sounds insane, and I really don't think I'm in the wrong, but I just need to know. So a friend invited me to a dinner party at her house a few weeks ago, and the actual dinner party was last night. I asked if I should bring anything, but she said no, that is not a potluck. She'll be making dinner for everyone. There were 7 of us total and the food was good. During the meal, we were all laughing and called our friend the dinner host a chef, because she made a big dinner for all of us. And we all said how much we appreciated it, because it's hard to get everyone together at the same time. At the end of dinner, we all helped clean, wash the dishes, then have some wine. It started getting late, so people started to head out. And on our way out to dinner, host said don't forget to Venmo/Cash App/Zelle her. Some of us were confused because we had no idea what we had to send her. So I asked her, what am I sending you money for? And she said for cooking dinner. Me, I don't understand why we should pay. Her, because I spent my money and hosted the dinner and cooked. Me, none of us asked you to. You volunteered to do it, and you never mentioned paying until now. Her, I didn't do this for free. Me, you should have told us before you hosted that you expected this. I don't think it's fair to just bring this up and expect people to pay. She called me an a-hole and said again that she didn't spend hours to cook, grocery shop for free. I have never heard of this, like ever. We kept arguing, and after a while, I just Venmo'd her the $40 she asked for. I don't think I'm the a-hole at all, and some of my friends agreed with me. Some have said it's normal to pay for dinner during a dinner party at someone's house, so now I'm not sure. Edit. A lot of you have asked what she made, and it was some salad I've never heard of. The main course was smoked Gouda mashed potatoes with beef short ribs. A dessert I forgot the name of. I think she said she bought this from a bakery. She also made vegan mashed potatoes and vegan ribs for one of our friends who is vegan. She also made or bought chicken skewers as the appetizers. Even though she said not to bring anything, I brought rum cake from my local bakery. And yes, everyone brought something small. We also had charcuterie and cheese board that 2 of the girls brought. Some girls brought wine, and we even had one girl bring candles to set the mood. We are in the US and none are European. I spoke with some of the others, and although they had paid for a dinner party before, it was discussed first. No one has ever done what this friend did, which was spring an unexpected cost on us. All of us are in our early 30s. The group chat is going crazy right now because everyone is angry at her. Not the a-hole. What your friend did was extremely scummy. She invites all these people to dinner that she is making with no mention of paying before and after this. And then when everyone is done eating and finished cleaning, out of the blue she expects everyone to give her money? If I was expected to pay for a dinner without knowing until after I ate, I would have skipped the dinner entirely. Cut contact with his friend. She shouldn't be hosting dinner parties if she will put stunts like this. Some have said it's normal to pay for dinner during a dinner party at someone's house. No, this is not normal. It's normal at the restaurants, but at one's house? This ain't normal. And it sure isn't normal to wait until after the food was eaten and everyone helped to clean up. At a restaurant, guests get to choose the dinner as well. And not clean up, lol. $40 is a bummer, but in the long run, it's a small price to pay to learn that your friend is tacky, cheap, has bad manners, and has no social intelligence whatsoever. Consider it part of the cost of doing business as an adult, and handle your relationship with her in the future accordingly.